being a human alone.
Okay, so when you're asleep, can I stab you?
I'm still considered sentient when I'm asleep.
Okay, if you are in a coma from which you may awake, can I stab you?
Well then, no, I guess not.
I'm glad you answered that, because I have no interest in actually murdering you.
That's still potential sentience, and it's still a potential,
I agree, it is potential sentience. You know what else is potential sentience? Being a fetus.
Well done, Ben Shapiro. Perhaps Berkeley should make Shapiro a visiting professor, and I think probably in the course of about one school year, he would roll back the left-wing movement at Berkeley, perhaps even eliminate it altogether. Joining me now to discuss what has become the lunacy of the left in this country, President Trump's battle against the obstructionists Ryan and McConnell, Ed Rollins, serving in 3 presidential administrations, chief political advisor to the House Republican leadership, the dean himself, Ed Rollins. Well, first of all, Ed, Ben Shapiro.
Well, I give him great praise for being there. Berkeley, I grew up 10 miles from Berkeley. I grew up in a town called Vallejo, shipyard town. I've watched this stuff now for 50 years, 60 years, and I think to a certain extent...
All of it supported, by the way, the taxpayers of California. Thank you very much.
And a great university in spite of the students and the faculty, and also helped launch...
I'm going to argue with you about that.
Also helped launch Ronald Reagan's career by basically being tough. And I admire these conservatives who are willing to still go to these campuses and stand up for their rights and for the freedoms, and the kids aren't going to get educated because they're not going to listen to them. But Bannon's going soon, others are going. But the idea that a public university can shut down people and not allow them, to me, is just the most outrageous thing going on in society today.
Well, and the most outrageous thing, I think, beyond that is that the left in this country will not just simply sanction and disown Antifa, these left-wing protesters who most of whom believe that violence is entirely appropriate for them, but they want to be handled by kid gloves, of course, if it's the police dealing with them.
Well, I think there's a few campuses with some football teams and some Aggies and what have you that if they came on and wanted to basically have violence, they'd get all the violence they wanted. Yeah. But I think to a certain extent they quickly run under the cover of the law. So.
Yeah, I mean let's be really straightforward about this. These people who say they want to be violent toward the right would not put up with for a second violence from the right.
Well, what they want is they don't have a message and they want attention. And the reality is every time this...
Well, let's give them attention.
Well, you put a camera on them and they'll basically spout off anything they want.
But still they persist because they are enabled by left-wing professors in public taxpayer-supported universities, as well, of course, as private universities as well. I want to turn to the president today. Stepping forward, saying absolutely they need to be proactive and get nasty with radical Islamist terrorists. The president, again, today, deciding to name the enemy, and he means business.
Well, it's very important he does that, and he's done it earlier, and he's going to do it continually, because he realizes that is the enemy. And you know what, anybody else around the world can call it whatever they want to, but this is a ongoing worldwide group that wants to destroy everything that we stand for.
Yes, and we know this because we've been fighting them for 16 years without victory. And this president is moving us closer and closer to actually putting radical Islamists, whether it's the Islamic State, Al-Qaeda, whomever, putting them to ground.
Well, the young men and women that we have put in combat for the last 16 years in these various parts of the world deserve a leader like they have today. And at the end of the day, the engagement is if they're out there shooting at you, endangering Americans, endangering others, go get them.
I want to show you something else that the president said today, Ed, in talking about legislation around DACA, talking about the broader issue of illegal immigration. President Trump saying this, quote, in a tweet, chain migration. Can we see that? Chain migration cannot be allowed to be part of any legislation on immigration. Yay, Mr. President. And he is being straightforward about it because this explodes under DACA, whatever the Congress and the Senate come up with, if he were to sign it. It would change the numbers by a factor of at least, in my opinion, about 10. In other words, if there are 800,000 DACA students, all of them reaching up into the 30s in age. I mean, they're not kids, as a number of people, including Senator Schumer, refer to them. Their average age is 26. But that would mean about not 5 million, but probably as many as 8 million would be brought in under chain migration. It's critically important what the president said today.
Well, the whole chain operation, we took in about 1.3 million immigrants the last year, and about 65% of those are basically connected in family in some way, shape, or form, and that's just not right. So you're exactly right, and the bottom line here is, in '86, we had the last immigration bill that was successful. We offered the immigration to 5 million people, 2.5 million took it. But in spite of that, because we didn't force our
But the promised border security
didn't come.
by the Democrats
Didn't come. So we basically went up to 10, 12, now 14, or whatever number it is.
Yeah, it's probably closer to 20.
Right. And so you got to basically make sure that whatever you do here is going to work.
Ed Rollins, great to see you, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much.